Welcome back to the Unstuck sessions. I'm going to go ahead and get my Facebook configured here. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to give you a rundown of what we're going to be talking about today. So, on today's episode, I got to get my other thing set up. So, on today's episode, I'm going to kind of test the red line and jump in the trenches, and it's going to alienate some of y'all. But today's episode is about how I use social media to get the things done as an ADHD person. Um, and it's near and dear to my heart. And I do utilize it it's helped me accomplish so much. So that's what we have on today's episode. I'm going to roll the intro and we will be right back at it. What's up, y'all? It's Brian. I'm with the Unstuck Sessions. I help ADHD entrepreneurs get a foothold and figure out ways that they can be successful and work with their mind instead of feeling like their mind is working against them. I have a program called the Unstuck Sessions. It's basically how I've kind of tailored my work to accommodate for running a couple of businesses and managing being a dad and all the other stuff that goes along with living life. And so that's what I'm here to do. And so I figure I could share my experiences with y'all and give y'all really a chance to pick my brain and learn some of the things that I use to make my life a little bit more manageable. Okay. I'm available for consultations. I'm available to help you out if you need systems organized and things along those lines. It always starts with the social media audit because social media is the way that most businesses and personal brands communicate with their audience. And so it always starts with the social media audit to make sure that everything is copacetic and we're maximizing our opportunities there. So if you're interested in bringing me in to take a look at your social media and chat and maybe come up with a strategy or whatnot, I dropped the link to my Calendly. You're going to find that in the description. Okay. So I'm trying to really, really laser focus in on making sure that I'm delivering the best quality for y'all. So I am going to skip a lot of preamble and jump right into the conversation. All right. Hopefully y'all catch up. So today's episode is how I use ChatGPT specifically, but AI in general to get unstuck. And I'm going to show you a little bit of my workflow. Okay. Realistically, I know that there's a lot of feelings about the use of AI. And really what we talk about is the use of language models. Language models have been around for a while. And what's happening now is they're adding a little bit more to language models so they can do what we would consider reasoning. But really, it's just the language model cross-checking itself. And it's able to come up with things and come up with solutions for questions. Now, I'm saying all that to say this with a caveat. When you use AI, it is garbage in, garbage out. It really is. So if you aren't precise in what you're asking it to do, and if you're asking it to give you factual stuff, if it cannot figure out the factual basis, it will make up something. Now, there are prompts you can use, and I want y'all to be really aware of this. There are prompts that you can use as a user of AI to really say, hey, don't give me your opinion. If you don't have a factual basis, let me know. You can use different prompts and things and kind of program the AI to be a little bit more truthful and not hallucinate. But you still do need to watch for it. And there's a lot of people that are using AI to offload their creativity, and that is not what I do. I'm a creative person. I don't use AI to generate things that out of nowhere. I always feed it information, especially if I'm using it for marketing or something along those lines. I don't let it generate all of everything. I always give it something of mine or something that I've created to work off of. So case in point, when I get done with this podcast, I'm going to upload it to my video editor and take the transcript and have my AI kind of parse it and help me generate a blog post. These are all my own ideas and these are all my own thoughts, but it allows me to organize my thoughts in a way that makes sense to other people. Because one of the things y'all need to understand is this, and it's not just ADHD thing. It's not just a neurodivergent thing. Language is very, very imprecise. It's the best way we have to communicate in most senses, but language is still very imprecise because a lot of times when we're talking, I have to take the jumble of electrical impulses that are going on in my brain, bring them down to another part of my brain, translate them into speech, and then bring them down to another part and make sure that that speech comes out the right way. And now that speech has to pass your ears and go through all your filters and communicate what I'm trying to say to you. Language is not the most precise way, but it's really one of the only ways we have, whether it's sign language or written language or just verbally talking to one another. And so, a lot of times when we say we're at a loss of words, we don't quite know what to say. What you're experiencing is um, the impreciseness of language at uh, communicating ideas. Again, it's the best way we have, but that's why people who have a talent as orators have that ability to overcome that. So that's what I got. Happy Monday. Thanks for tuning in. So I wanted to do this episode to kind of just run it down and say, you know, I'm here and I with my ADHD, I really do use AI tools to kind of supplement and offload some of the tasks that don't really require too much of a focus. And I think that's one of the challenges. A lot of people are using AI as this end all, be all kind of thing, and that's not really the best use case for it, in my opinion. Okay, so I want to show you real world examples of how somebody with ADHD right here, this guy right here, uses ChatGPT and other AIs to overcome executive dysfunction and make progress on things that feel too big to start. Because that's what it always comes down to. Um, a lot of times when, I have big ideas and I take on big, huge, hairy tasks that are scary. And a lot of times, since I like to try to plan things and plan contingencies, I can get hung up in the analytic phase or analyzing phase. I can get stuck there indefinitely and come up with all these contingencies and contingencies for contingencies and all this other stuff. And then it ends up precluding me actually taking action. Okay. It is what it is. And so I will use AI to say, hey, I want to do this. Give me a rough step. Give me a rough start. Tell me where I should start first. Just something as simple as that. Um, and that can give me enough to get started without having to sit there and have to think about, okay, what's my first step, what's my next step. I'm gonna tell you, ADHD, man, I'm really terrible. I am uniquely terrible at processes. I can come up with ideas and I can come up with visions of what I want, but the process of like an onboarding process, that is one of the hardest things I can do because my mind does not think in that if then that kind of thing. That's why I have trouble with like ClickFunnels and Zapier and all these other tools that allow people to sequence things because my mind doesn't work in sequences like that. I see the end. I see the end result and I see the beginning. And then I'll figure it out along the way. And so using AI to help me overcome that is really, really one of the main uses that I use it for. Um, now, ChatGPT, and I can give you a quick rundown of what ChatGPT is and what it is not. Okay. So, ChatGPT is a language model. And basically, what it does is it will parse. You can ask it questions and things along those lines, and in the best of its knowledge, it will scrape the web and try to find the language to accomplish what you're trying to ask it, what you're asking it to do. Now they've added features where it can, do some light design work and things along those lines, but more times than not, most people use it just kind of as an online assistant. So I'm going to say this, and I'm gonna show y'all this. So let me go ahead and share my screen. And as y'all can see, when I pull this up, as y'all can see, I use I use ChatGPT a lot um, to help me organize things that I've already written or help me sort through thoughts. Okay. And so when you use ChatGPT enough, you can say, I can give it a prompt like, um, and I'm using my microphone so I don't have to type, or maybe not, because I don't want to end my mic usage here. I don't want to disconnect my mic here to make sure to use it there. So I will not do that. So I will go ahead and give it an instruction. And so this is what it is. Tell me what you know about me. Now, I've been using ChatGPT for about 3 years. And so I've entered a lot of information in there. I used to pay up for the paid version of it when I had a more of an agency running. And so I'm kind of rebuilding a lot of my clients. And so um, I haven't been paying for ChatGPT. I've been using the free version. But tell me what you know about me. So basically, it's running down who I am. My name is Brian. I'm a business and marketing coach. I run a community called the Unstuck Sessions, especially for those with ADHD, where people can learn how to be their own marketing department. I bootstrapped all my businesses without coming from an entrepreneurial background. I am married with 2 teenagers. I live with inattentive ADHD, and it influences how I work and think. I generate a lot of ideas, but I do desperately struggle with follow through. I value honesty, practicality, and real life lessons. And I do share wins as much as I share my failures because I believe failure is a part of um, the path to success. I own Coach Mo Athletics. Um, Basically, it's a basketball training organization slash speed and agility training organization. Um, I don't need y'all to know what my EIN is. um, my coaching style is this. I teach content marketing, branding, client avatars. I use a Life Force 8 from Cashvertising, and I'm building online courses that promote independent learning for neurodivergent business owners. I focus on practicing marketing, practical marketing systems, self-sufficiency, and getting unstuck for people who get stuck in ideation or perfectionism. That's what I'm here to do. Um, I have a couple of different I have a couple of different media projects I'm working on. I do want to do a longer form video that's on the nerdy side about I thought there would be more ninjas, kind of talking about my transition from childhood to adulthood. Okay. So this is general what ChatGPT knows about me. Okay. And so what I will use ChatGPT for is to sort through and sift through my thoughts. As simply as I can make it. Now, ChatGPT is not the only AI I use. I use one called Manus, and Manus is an AI agent, which means it can handle multiple tasks at the same time. And that one is beneficial because I can actually I can get a little bit more complex in my instructions and actually have it go out and execute things for me. And so, um, but by and large, my basic is ChatGPT. Now, what can you use ChatGPT for? Um, if you have an idea of a social media post that you want to make for your business, you can drop it into ChatGPT. You can ask it to give you a call to action. You can say, make this a really compelling statement with a strong call to action for X, Y, and Z. And it can generate that. You can ask it to generate social media calendars for you so that you can have a calendar of content that goes out. And so it's only a matter of cutting and pasting things. And so there's a lot of different ways that you can apply this. With deep research, you can utilize deep research to actually go dig a little bit deeper where it's actually referencing some sources and scraping some data and compiling information for you. And deep research is only going to get more powerful as we go along because that's really what the end game is. Having an AI tool that you can put out there that can accurately and factually do some deeper level analysis of numbers and things like that and give you um, a boilerplate solution that you can build on. The problem right now is making sure that we are with ChatGPT and stuff, making sure that we're not overly reliant on it until it proves that it can be trusted. And more times than not, if you don't provide the right information on the front end, it will just hallucinate some bullshit for you, and you will be going through a hallucinated bullshit. Okay, so this is where we are. I want you guys to understand that, um, especially for ADHD, I know that there is a lot of controversy around use of AI and how much power and electricity it uses, and a lot of the ethical concerns about what information it's pulling and who is it referencing and making sure that it's giving credit and stuff like that. I am not here to get into politics of all this. I really not. Somebody with ADHD, this has been a blessing because I don't have to sit with ideas rattling around in my brain, with no idea on how to execute or implement or do anything. And I feel like my hands are tied because my brain is trying to conceptualize what I'm asking to do. Um, that's one. Um, I know that there's going to be ethical concerns, and I feel like the next wave is we're going to see, as we start seeing an escalation of usage of AI to do things, we're going to have serious conversations about ethical use of it, because I feel like there is ethical use, but I also feel like there's a lot of unethical use that's going on, where people are photo referencing um, copyrighted work or photo referencing somebody else's art and basically lifting their art style and taking it as their own. And so we're going to have lots of ethical considerations that we do need to discuss with use of stuff like ChatGPT. Okay. But that's neither here nor there, y'all. And to be quite honest with you, for me, it is the tool that I use to try to get my brain to function, and so that I can be at my best for you guys every day. Okay. So a lot of what you do with a chat GPT is really based on what you ask it. And I'm going to share a tool that I literally just found out about last week. I just found out about this tool last week. Um, and it's been going like gangbusters. So it's called Prompt Cowboy. Now, I think I'm still on the free tier. I don't know what the paid tier looks like. And um, I'm real judicious about how I utilize stuff that requires me to ongoing pay, because the end of the day, the game is there's going to be all these different AI models that come out, and each one of them are going to have their own strengths and weaknesses. And it's going to be kind of like streaming services where you end up paying a subscription for this one because it has this, and you're paying a subscription for this one because it has this. And so if I start chasing the rabbit and chasing every brand new AI model that has a paid tier, I'm going to be broke. um, and so if we want to, if this ends up being an ongoing series with the Unstuck sessions where I tell you how ADHD brains can utilize emerging AI technology, um, it's going to be something that I end up investing in. But for a regular person, you probably don't need much more than ChatGPT right now. And if you want more, you can pay for the $20 a month for the paid tier. And that'll give you pretty much all you need. Okay. So where do we begin? First things first, it's garbage in, garbage out. Said that before. Everything is about the prompt. And writing a prompt on ChatGPT is basically giving it an instruction on what you want it to do. Now, the more detailed you can be with your instruction, the better it's going to deliver. As precise, you want to be as precise as you possibly can be. And a lot of times for ADHD brains, we just want to say what needs to be said and move on. So I found this tool the other day. It's called Prompt Cowboy. I'm gonna show it to you guys. Prompt Cowboy basically takes a prompt. You tell it what you want, and it will spit one out for you. Okay. So let's say this. I need a script, or I need an outline for a live stream that teaches business owners and brand managers how, or brand managers with ADHD, how to use AI ethically. Okay. Please don't judge me for the spelling. I'm a terrible speller. So I'm going to give it a prompt. Okay. Now there's different levels of prompts here. Your standard prompt is going to be like more your general use. The reasoning prompt for ChatGPT, reasoning adds a little bit more, brings in a different model, and it allows it to compare and contrast different ideas and figure out which one works the best. Deep research is where it actually goes deep into the internet and references a bunch of sources. Deep research is cost intense. I mean, time intensive, and you only on the free tier you only get like 3 or 4 deep reasonings a month. Okay, so I'm just going to have it give me a standard prompt. So I need an outline for a live stream that teaches business owners and brand managers with ADHD how to use AI ethically. Let me add this. The live stream is called the Unstuck Sessions, and the host is Brian. Okay, so that's the prompt. And so it's going to give me a detailed prompt. It's going to give me all these instructions. Okay. So it expanded on what I asked it to do and gave a bunch of instructions so that it can improve the quality of what ChatGPT returns. Okay. So I'm going to take this. I'm going to read over it real quick. Oh, I am a fast reader, y'all. I'm actually reading this. So transparency. All right. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to take it over to ChatGPT. And I'm going to show y'all as I go. So bear with me. All right. So now we're over in ChatGPT. We're going to start a new chat. Let me open up this thing. As you can see, I have my show notes here. I'm not keeping anything from y'all. I talked all this out this morning and asked it to do a couple things. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to paste it here. Now it took this entire paragraph prompt. And so this is what it's going to do. Like I said, garbage in, garbage out, y'all. If you take your time and give it good prompts, it will give you better information. And plus, the thing with ChatGPT is it will take what it already knows about me to generate the information. So ChatGPT already knows that I'm a business and marketing coach who has ADHD, who focuses on helping small business owners with ADHD. Okay. So this is what it spit out. A detailed flow and outline, and I use outlines. I don't use scripts. I use outlines for podcasts and live streams, just because outlines help me keep my thoughts in order, and I think in a bullet point way. I have a bullet point way of thinking. Okay, and it's even giving me other tips. So what I'm gonna do now is, now that I've generated a different form or a different outline, I'm gonna use this outline just to show you that it works. So we talked about AI tools. A tool without a blueprint is dangerous. We talked about how it can save hours. AI saves me hours on a daily basis in terms of getting things done. Okay. Ethical guidelines, I kind of ran down that. It has biases. It learns from past data. A lot of times, if the data source is pulling from has racist and sexist and classist stuff, it will absolutely agree with that and generate it. There are prompts that you can write to tell AI to try to be as impartial as possible and even be harsh and not just agree with you, but it's still a imperfect machine. Um, if you're using AI, your client should know. I'm letting you know off the rip, I do use AI for some stuff. Okay. We don't feed it private consumer data. I don't feed it my client's information. And um, more times than not, you ask consent before you analyze content or face, and you can't blame the bot. You're still the boss. Like these are just basic things and basic considerations that you need to take into account. Okay. So one of the ways that people utilize AI, specifically, we're seeing more and more use of AI when it comes to screening, even screening job applications. You're starting to see more and more people screening job applications with AI. And so in order, there's not even a person filtering it. They're filtering it and they're kicking things out based on what the AI sees. And that's kind of a scary implication because we know how AI can have specific biases against ethnic names and things like that. Um, and so it is really being careful. So we're going to jump back here because I think this is going to be a whole other episode. We're going to talk about the ethics of AI. Right now, I'm going to talk about the uses of it, but I'm going to get into the ethics. Okay. So I need a lot of times when we do this, when we utilize this AI stuff, we use it to do menial tasks, and I mean it can do that. It can do some higher level stuff, but with an ADHD brain, it can end up being a rabbit hole in and of itself, especially if you're a person that gets consumed with trivia like I am. That could end up being another thing that it ends up devouring your time. Okay. And so it is really being cognizant of the fact that AI can supplant your social media usage as a new obsession. So you got to really be careful with that. And a lot of times when I find a new toy, I have a hard time putting it down. It's just what it is. Okay. Um, being stuck with ADHD, and this is where I use it. I use AI a lot to implement tasks, and I'm a little bit scattered today because I'm kind of struggling today. So just bear with me. Um, being stuck with ADHD feels like sitting at a computer for an hour and doing nothing because you don't know where to start. Feeling like I have 10 tabs open in my brain. I normally have about 18. Not knowing where to start, so I don't do anything. And then I'll do it later that turns into shame or panic. And so that's where ChatGPT has become part of my daily routine. It's not a tool, it's kind of a thinking partner. So if I need a position to get started, it can give me where I need to get started. Okay. So um, it can even generate a to-do list for you. Um, I haven't done that yet because I have a weird relationship with to-do lists. They end up becoming things that a bunch of tasks that I just haven't started yet. But you can absolutely use it to organize your brain a little bit, especially if you do need an online to-do list that you can add stuff to, because it does have a memory. You can say, add this to my to-do list, and it should be able to do this. Okay. But I'm gonna give you a really interesting prompt. Okay. So I need to send 3 emails, pay a bill, and prep for a meeting, and I'm stuck. Can you break these down into ADHD friendly tips? And what should I do first? I'm gonna take it to Prompt Cowboy. While Prompt Cowboy is working, I'm gonna go ahead and put it up on my screen. So I put that in. Prompt Cowboy gave me a prompt that I can use for ChatGPT. And so now I'm going to move it over to ChatGPT. And I'm going to show you what that looks like. Sorry, the share screen feature is pretty slow on here because I got to do a lot of clicking. I got to figure out some shortcuts to do this. Okay. So I said basically I gave it some tasks that I needed to do, and I need a starting point. And this is what I use ChatGPT for. Hey, I want to build a membership website. Where do I start? Quick overview of the task. I need 3 emails to send, bill payment, and meeting prep. Okay. And it gives me step-by-step things. And sometimes I actually, even if I know what the steps are, having it laid out step by step does allow me to find a starting point. And a lot of times with my brain, it gets caught up in a loop of not being able to start. Where do I start? Where do I begin? Where do I begin? Where do I begin? Um, where it hits me really hard, and I'll be really transparent, is cleaning. Um, I get overwhelmed and I don't know exactly where to start. And then I set out with the task of cleaning the living room, and then I can't do it because I don't know where to start. I physically don't know. I overwhelm myself with all the things that need to be done that I don't give myself a starting point. Okay. So it gives you a simple breakdown of micro steps that I can execute to get the thing done. And then it even gives me a prioritization list so that I could know what gives me a specific priority of which to get things done. This is how you can use it in your basic everyday life. um, when I'm driving, I will hit the little microphone. I'll tap the microphone button so I can drop ideas into ChatGPT, and it can kind of parse them while I'm picking my kids up from school. And then when I get home, I can go ahead and execute what ChatGPT has laid out for me. There are times where I have to say, try again. That doesn't work, try again. That doesn't work, try again. And so it is not a perfect tool, but it's the tool that we have right now. Okay. All right. So in a very simple flow, you could ask ChatGPT to lay out your day for you and give you action steps to start. Okay. Now we're back to the live stream. Okay. So why does this work for an ADHD brain? Ooh, I like this prompt. Okay, I got a couple of example prompts. So, can you hype me up like a coach and tell me why finishing this will feel good? Now, understand, this is not something that this is not something that has its own brain. I need you to understand that. I need you to understand that it's literally just pulling words off the internet and giving them to you. But sometimes that's all you need. So it's hyping me up. Chat GPT's hyping me up. You didn't come this far to quit at 80%. You've done the hard part, starting. You fought through the distractions, doubts, and every excuse trying to pull you off course. You're in the 4th quarter now, and this is where champions are made. Finishing this is not about checking a box. It's about proving to yourself that you can follow through. You don't just let your ideas get into your head, you bring them to life. Okay. So it can even hype you up. Like, it's not a human being. And I need some of y'all to understand this because we do have this weird thing right now that we're experiencing where we try to attribute human personalities to animals and things that aren't living. And so I don't want y'all to think of it like a human being, but I do want you to think of it like an artificial, kind of an artificial brain that doesn't really think. It just spits out ideas and it helps you sort through your ideas. If you put your ideas in, it will spit out ideas back at you. Okay. So if you want to see exactly how I do it in my workflow, like right now, I have a couple of tasks that I need to get done. Okay. And so what I'll do is I'll kind of show you when I say I use Chat GPT to parse information that's already there. I'll show you what I mean. Okay. I produce a couple of podcasts. I'm not going to go into my client's podcast because I don't want to put all his business out in the street. So I'll go back to one of mine. Okay. Now, one of the AI tools that I do use is I have a membership to Opus Pro, Opus Clip, uh, and it's Opus Pro. Opus Pro is an AI tool that allows you to clip longer form video and cut it into TikToks or Instagram reels or even longer form YouTube. So I could drop an hour long clip in there and it will chop up that hour long clip into bite sized segments that I can then utilize uh, across all of social media. Okay. And so a lot of times when I'm working with Opus Pro, one of the things is um, when I create the clips, there is there's a it ends up making it harder because then I end up wanting to do specialized captions and specialized titles for all platforms and stuff like that. And instead of having to think about it every single time, I will take the transcript and I'll show you what I'm talking about here. Let me pull up something here. So present. And sorry, I'm jumping into a whole lot of different things, but bear with me. So this is my general workflow. I do post a lot of content on behalf of myself and for other people. Okay. So one of the things I do, let me jump in here. So I dropped longer form clips in here, right? And Opus chops them up into bite-sized clips and transcribes them. Okay. So this is my own personal Opus account. I have one that I share with a couple of clients to get things done, but this is my own. Okay. And so I will absolutely utilize this to help me generate clips and captions for social media. Okay. And so right now, this is the transcript. This is exactly what I said. Okay. I will copy this. I'll give it a quick watch. The thing that you think is mundane and boring, that knowledge that you have that you think is super boring and nobody will care about it, is fascinating to somebody else. Okay. So basically, I'm going to get the gist of what I'm saying. I'm going to take it over to ChatGPT and I'm going to give it a prompt. Give me a caption and title for this to use on social media. Now I can get more precise and say, give me one optimized for Facebook, give me one optimized for YouTube, and give me one optimized for LinkedIn. That's not what I'm doing today. So basically, I took the very words that I said in that clip, copied them, pasted them into ChatGPT, and I said, give me a caption and title to use on social media. Okay. And so the title came up with is "You're Boring as Someone Else's Breakthrough." I like that one. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep it. So I'm gonna copy this. So ChatGPT spit out an answer for me. You're boring as somebody else's breakthrough. Okay. So Opus Pro is dope because it allows me to post to multiple platforms from one dashboard. Okay. Need to remove the ones that don't make sense. And paste it wherever I want to. So I can paste that boring as somebody else's breakthrough. Okay. And sometimes sometimes Opus Pro will give you good captions to use, and so you don't necessarily have to do it, but a lot of times the captions aren't that great. Okay. I'm keeping it real with you. I don't want you guys to buy into a platform that doesn't that may have some things that don't quite work on it the right way. And I don't want you to go in blind to it. Okay. So I'm gonna copy this. And then I would have to copy it for each one of these and post them in there. That does take a little bit of time. I ain't even gonna hold you. But I'm not gonna change all these other ones. But really, I took my own words and had it retrofitted and come up with a good caption and a good title for social media usage. That's what I do. I took my own words and just had it reconfigure my own words to be conveyed in a way that makes sense. It saves me mental energy on having to do a lot of other stuff and a lot of more mundane tasks. Okay. So I'm using Opus Pro, and it's another AI tool it's AI video clipper. Okay. You don't have to, if you're going to use AI, you don't have to go all in. You don't have to generate AI art. You don't have to do all the weird, sketchy crap that people utilize this stuff for. You can absolutely use it just to organize yourself and get your poop in a group. And that's what I use it for. I use it to sift through my tasks. Okay. So by giving yourself a starting point and outsourcing some of that, you can save. And we've talked about how willpower is a, a tangible thing, and you have reserves of willpower that you can deplete by engaging in tasks that require thinking or resisting a temptation or doing something that may be difficult. And it can be death by a thousand paper cuts. And so if you get hit with too many of those low leverage kind of things, it can absolutely deplete your willpower, and then you don't have it in the tank for something big and scary. Use AI to offset that. If you need help getting started, use AI to give you the steps to get started. If you need to organize your thoughts, talk to it. Click the button, and Gemini does it, ChatGPT does it, Claude does it. All these different AI tools do it. Click the microphone button and talk to it and help you organize your thoughts. I've literally sat there, pressed the button, and ranted at AI for 2 minutes and said, please organize these thoughts and put them in a coherent statement so I can kind of read it back and have a little bit of clarity on the way I'm thinking about things. It can do that. Now, again, you have to take it with a grain of salt because it only knows what you put it in there. And a lot of times it only knows what it can scrape. And if it can't scrape information, it will hallucinate. So keep that in mind. But it's creating a structure for me on demand. It helps reduce friction and ends up removing some decision fatigue. I don't have to sit there and labor over lines. I can put in an entire ad and say, okay, edit this for clarity, and it will edit the ad for clarity. And then say, put a call to action to do X, Y, and Z, and make sure the call to action is for this group or this specific target audience, and it can do that stuff for me. So that's how I utilize AI. Okay. So next time you're frozen in place, seriously, just open up ChatGPT and type, I need to do blank, but I just feel stuck. Can you figure out where to help me start? Basic. That's all you need to do. Let me know in the comments if that helped and if you're comfortable what it gave you. Okay. So this is what the Unstuck Sessions is. I feel like this is kind of a lane that I want to occupy a little bit because I do implement AI to do a couple of things and help me kind of power through life with my brain being wired a little bit differently. And so if this is content that interests you, go ahead and click the like and subscribe button so that I can continue to make more stuff like this. Okay. I'm not just going to be limited to ChatGPT, and we're going to talk about a couple of different other areas of AI so that I can kind of give you a full, more robust viewpoint of it and not just limited to this is how I utilize it every single day. That gets old real quick. Okay. So I think next time I'm going to talk about the ADHD-friendly way to prompt ChatGPT. Because one of the emerging sciences that's going to be running parallel to AI is going to be called prompt engineering. And prompt engineering is just the science of giving an AI engine instructions to execute a task. And so sometimes it's very difficult for us to organize our own thoughts with ADHD. And so it can make creating prompts that get what we want done. It can make that a little bit more difficult. And so most people don't use ChatGPT well, and it's not because they don't know how to use technology. It's because no one taught them how to talk to it. Okay. And so that's going to be the next video. That's what we're going to be tackling next Monday. The ADHD friendly way to prompt ChatGPT. And we're going to expand it out to other tools because I utilize ChatGPT for maybe about 80% of what I do, and the rest goes to Manus or goes to Claude, depending on what I need specifically. Claude is a lot better when it comes to making language that sounds like human beings and really parsing high level conversations and making it something a little bit more relatable. Okay. So that's what we're going to talk about next week. Again, I understand that there is a lot of controversy around ChatGPT and AI, and a lot of it is there's a lot of branding BS, to be quite frank with you, that gets roped into it, and they treat it like this miracle thing, and um, uh, a lot of times it's not that. It's still a garbage in, garbage out kind of system. Okay. And so I just want to share with you how I utilize it. And hopefully that can provide some tools and some frameworks for you. So in short, and I'm going to wrap this up. The tools that I mentioned today, ChatGPT, that's where you can get started. Okay. Prompt Cowboy. This is one that you can type in what you want ChatGPT to do, and will give you precise prompts to use to get your task done. Opus Pro. Opus Pro is an AI tool that I use to clip my long form videos into shorter form and redistribute them online. Manus. Manus is an AI agent that can handle multiple tasks. And when I mean handle multiple tasks, I can have it give me a website, a skeleton of a website that I can actually use with a little bit of tweaking on the back end. Manus costs money, but Manus is a pretty damn good tool. I would not advise going into Manus until you get familiar with what ChatGPT does. Okay. And then I'm going to go into the different GPTs and stuff like that. One of the things I'm going to start doing, and I'm going to be real honest with you, I'm going to take a lot of what I know and create a custom GPT that is marketing for ADHD business owners. And basically it'll be like the Unstuck bot or Unstuck AI or something along those lines. And I'm gonna dump everything I know about marketing into it and make that available for people to utilize. So that's what I got coming up. I appreciate y'all's time. If this content connects with you, go ahead and give me a like or subscribe to it. Leave a comment, something along those lines, to let me know that this is reaching and resonating with you. I appreciate y'all tuning in. Like I said, this is kind of the direction of the Unstuck sessions for now. I'm gonna show you the tools that I use to get things done as a business owner and marketer with ADHD. Hopefully you guys find some utility in that. Next week, we'll be back with ADHD friendly ways to generate prompts and utilize AI tools. So that's all I got. I do appreciate your time. I will talk to y'all later. If you want to utilize my services as a coach or marketing consultant, check the show notes, check the description. It always starts with the audit of your social media to make sure that all social media is in line with what you want to do. So book a time with me and we can sit down and I can kind of give you what I know about utilizing social media to bootstrap businesses and things along those lines to get the outcomes that we want. So that's what I got. I will talk to y'all later. Peace.